quarter. So today's conversation, I want to share with you some things that you should be considering when it comes to you running your business and embracing what's happening inside of your company. This is the perfect conversation, regardless if you are someone that's seasoned in doing events or if you're someone that is relatively new, because I find that there's not a lot of conversations about exactly what I'm about to talk about today. Because there's not direction on how to financially run a business out there outside of some of the accounting conversations and the bookkeeping conversations. But here's the real truth with running a business. If you're not pricing things correctly, if you do not have a plan, and if you don't have an overall understanding about how you plan on scaling correctly, then it's going to be very hard to be able to go after your goals. And that's not to be negative, and that's not to kill anyone's dreams. That's just really to have to bring some normalcy to the conversation. There's a lot of chatter on social media and online that just only talks about everything going up and everything is, there's only one direction inside a business. In reality, there's not that's not the case for most people. There's always going to be moments where you're making a few steps forward and then there's going to be one or two steps back, but you're moving forward at the end of the day. But there will be some ups and downs and lateral jumps with running your business. So, in today's episode of the Systems Lab, we're going to be walking through how I'm personally reviewing my numbers to NQ1 and how you can do the same inside of your business. If you watched the last live that I did do, I was talking about how to understand your pricing structure and the importance of actually knowing what your hourly rate is, to know exactly, do you have the capacity to go to hit the next levels inside of your business, and are you even pricing right or correctly so that you can even make what you're looking to make inside of your company. Because last time I was talking about the difference of understanding that your revenue is not your gross profit, which is not your net profit. So if you don't have clarity on what salary you need to be making and you're just looking to the left and the right as to what other people are charging, you may be misled because some people don't know how to charge. And if you're looking at other people that don't know how to charge correctly, then you can be on the trajectory that that person is also on. And so, if we haven't met yet, hi, my name is Jessie. I have over 15 years of experience in the event industry. I have been an entrepreneur for a very long time. I've learned a lot. I've fallen a few times, more than I probably want to publicly admit. But I'm still here. I'm pushing forward and I'm just taking you along the journey. And I want to be your companion with this because I think that there's not a lot of entrepreneurs like myself. We don't have seven-figure businesses, but we are in a space that we want to help others with being able to know these are some of the things that we have encountered and how I'm going about overcoming those challenges. Um, so today we're going to be getting into the data. If you're not a numbers person, I really don't know what to tell you. Like, you chose to be an entrepreneur. And numbers are a part of the equation. It's not just posting really cool Instagram and YouTube videos. It's making sure you are putting on your CEO hat and not just hustling your business. So the first thing I really wanted to talk about today is like why some business owners really feel confused when it comes to being able to know what's going on inside of their business. The biggest issue that comes along is that we don't have an understanding of the patterns that are relevant inside of our business. And I see this often with service-based businesses, but specifically of us in the event industry, because we're busy. We're like, we may be charging a client a certain amount, we may be feeling like we're making a lot of money, but if you aren't present to it, you can have things taking away what could be potential profit inside of your company. And since we aren't hearing about how profitable other people's businesses are, we sometimes can feel as if we must be doing something wrong, or we may think we're doing everything right. And so there's no true clarity around any of this. And so it can look like you just charge someone $1,000 or $10,000, And you have all this money coming in from these different bookings. You may have expenses going out, but because there's always money coming in, you're not aware of how much you're actually keeping. So, with us not having clarity on our intentional reviews and knowing what's going on inside of our business, we are just guessing and assuming, which can be extremely expensive. And what really sparked me doing this conversation today was that I was taking the time to review my Q1 numbers where I'm at so that I can create a strategy to end this month end the Q1 powerfully to go into Q2. And if you've never heard of the terms Q1, Q2, Q3, Q1 is January through March, Q2 is April through June, Q3 is July through September, and Q4 is October through December. So every 3 months. That's how people like to look at it. And I like to break up my goals in that way too, because it not feeling overwhelmed to get this one overarching goal for the end of the year. And I've done plenty of videos in the past talking about forecasting. And if there's anything you have a question about that, you're more than welcome to comment below. So if you ever have felt yourself in a position, I want you to comment below because I'm very intrigued to see what people say. If you ever felt yourself in a position and you look at your bank account and you're like, where did all that money actually go? Drop the word clear below because I want to see like how many people have felt this way because I know it's been times where, especially in my busy seasons, Q4, like 75% of my revenue in my event business happens in Q4 because I do corporate events. And you're like, oh, all this money coming in. You're like, hold on, but where? Like January, February came, I'm like, what in the world is going on? And you're not alone. So comment below and let me know, have you ever felt like that before? And there's no shame at it at all. And that's why you're looking at this video is because you want to change what's happening. So let's go into what I've been doing when it comes to understanding my Q1 CEO review process. So one of the things that I decided to do was look at what did I say I wanted to intentionally do for Q1. I do have an Asana board that I created for my specific goals. And what I will do is I will share with you my screen. I've been wanting to figure out how to have this as something that people can actually download. Haven't figured that out. And if I had to be very transparent, I haven't spent a ton of time trying to figure it out. But one of the things that I want to share with you is here we go. So I do have an Asana board. I talk about Asana on occasion on this channel about how to use it for project management. And so as you can see in my Asana board, I have one for my goals for 2026. And I break it down by quarter. And for each one, I have a goal for this part of my life, my consulting business, one for my event business, and then personal goals because all of them have to relate in some kind of capacity. And I'd like to have it all in one centralized location. So what I ended up doing is that I had looked at my event business and I was like, okay, what did I say I was going to get done? What were the revenue goals? What were going to be my focuses going into this specific quarter? So once I took the time to actually do that, then I was like, okay, this is how much I have left over to go about hitting my goal. So what it left me with was that in order to hit my goal, I am right now about 26K short, 26,000 short for me to hit my goal. I do believe it's possible to still achieve it, but the thing is that if I never took the time to sit down and actually see exactly what I needed to do, what would have potentially happened is that I would have been just like, oh, everything's on track. I feel like I'm moving and shaking. But then if I looked at the data, no, you're behind. So what I did was I pulled what was my revenue, um, where I actually am. I looked at my expenses, which was so important because what I am finding is that a good amount of companies are doing price increases like on some of the subscriptions and platforms. And I I will like I don't have a problem with price increases, but I do need them to be communicated. And so what I was doing was I went through my spreadsheet and I was like, whoa, hold on, how did this change? How did this happen? And it was really one of those things where my eyes were truly open because I was not aware of how some of my subscriptions had went up. And it's not like big dollar amounts. Like it might have been like 12 $21 and now it's 33. So some people might be like, oh, that was only a $10 change. But when you look at the percentage change, like other companies have no problem with implementing a 30, 40, 50% price increase for a subscription. And people pay that. So it's important for us to know exactly like what are the things that are happening inside of your business and help you with understanding what you might need to shift going into Q2. Because when you do have clarity on these things, it allows for you to actually create the strategy that you're needing inside of your company so that you can stop guessing. So, I will be sharing my screen throughout the today's conversation because I want you to see what are some of the things that I use. In the beginning, if you're not someone that uses a project management tool, I love Asana. I'll make sure to have a link for you to try it out if that's something you want to try. But if you have to start out with just using a notepad to keep track of your goals, fine. If you need to use a notepad inside of your cell phone, fine. But you do want to know exactly where your end destination is. I find that it's very easy to just be moving along the way without having clarity as to where you want to go. So you do want to know where you what did you say you wanted to accomplish for 2026? Like, get crystal clear about that. I don't care what happened in January. I don't care what's happened in February. What I do want for you to do is get present to what you say you want so that you can actually put that as something you're monitoring and tracking and understand exactly how to go about getting this because I want for us to break out of these habits of just creating these random goals because social media says it or you saw someone else doing something instead of you like getting clear about what's going on in your business, your actions, your schedule, your lifestyle. All of those things are very, very important. So what I did was I went through a cash flow spreadsheet to have clarity as to what was going on. Inside of this, I do have a download. So if you do look at inside of the description, I have a this resource which I did figure out how to do. It's a spreadsheet that will you can put in your information and data, and I will share that right now so that you can check that out. And here we go. Screen, window. Okay. So in this free resource that you can download, you'll be able to put your own information. I did create this years ago. Am I great at promoting it? No. But that's obviously a part of my goal for 2026 is to get better at making sure y'all know what I have available for you, be it free or not, because I feel like this is something that can be very helpful for people to know. So in this spreadsheet, I need to update my 2026 because I did not do this and I need to do this. Um, I did do my goal setting and I did look at my numbers and I did that in December, but I did not do it for my 2026. And so inside of the spreadsheet, you'll be able to write exactly like what are your income, like what are you expecting your cost of goods to do what you do, and then all of your expenses. And then you can do it for each and every month. So this is something that when I'm really on it, like I'm crystal clear, like as to what I need to do inside of my business. And that's why I wanted to share this with y'all, because it helps you of understanding not only what are the little things, like a $1 iTunes. We like, oh, what is that? It doesn't, like, or only $13 for Canva. Those are things that can easily just fall into the ether without us being present to. But I was super surprised when I did the numbers because a lot of my low cost subscriptions, a good amount of them actually had went up, and I was unaware because they did not send out notification. And if they did send out notification, I did not see it. But what I did realize, and this ties into the conversation that we had about pricing structure. So, like, I realized that pretty much every month outside of my salary, my company is like the cost for it to actually run is around 5 grand from insurance. I'm on a tax repayment plan. Um, my expenses to run my business, yeah. So like $5,000 for all of the little things inside of my business. And so when you think of that, like $5,000, if you multiply that by 12, that's a big number. So what I ended up doing was getting clear about like, okay, how much, like what has changed in my business with my operating expenses from January to March? Because again, like I said, some of these companies did not notify me of the price increase that had occurred. And so I was able to break down, okay, I said I wanted to hit this specific goal. And since this is what I've already done, this is how much it's actually cost me to run my business. It helped me of understanding like what are my fixed costs that are going on inside of my business and how much is it taking a chunk out of just the overall expenses. And the thing is that I highly recommend download the spreadsheet. Like if you don't use QuickBooks, I do have QuickBooks, and that's probably so. Like if you have QuickBooks, you're more than welcome to pull up the document in QuickBooks. With me, I do QuickBooks, but I have rules on it, and so all of them just go into their actual categories. But what I do is I have a budget handbook that I have where I say what days specific bills coming out of my account. So I always make sure I am keeping on top of what I need to make sure I have in my business expense account. But yeah, you do want to make sure you're keeping on top of the software, your team support, all of those expenses, and some variable costs that are going on. Um, Today, I recently found out, and here I'm gonna be transparent with y'all. I just found out today, even though I've been in business for over 15 years, I always would get my business registered in the state in which I resided. I did not know that every state that I'm doing business in, I am also supposed to have a foreign entity business set up in that state. I had no clue. And it wasn't until one of my clients was like, "Hey, Jesse, I need you to send me your business certification. Um, like you're showing that you're a registered business." And I did. And she's like, "Oh, but they need you to be registered in X city, state." And I was like, why? I don't have a, I don't work there. I mean, I was like, I serve as clients in that state, but I don't have an address there. And so what I ended up finding out was that one, I had to expedite my foreign entity, which was $350 to do. Then I also had to register for a virtual business mailbox, which was another $40. So just in like 2 hours of starting my day, I had to come up with $400. And so these are the reality checks when it comes to running a business that are so important for us to know. Like, I have no problem with sharing with that, y'all, because I know a lot of times with event businesses, I see people like, I'll travel to you. It doesn't matter where you are. And again, I just found out, so I don't know what are all the terms with it. Maybe if you're only going there once in a blue moon, then it might not be a big thing. But what I found out was because like, here's the thing is that my tax professionals never even mentioned this to me. And if you know anything about the DC metro area, like DMV is Dallas, sorry, not Dallas. I just saw something come up and I had to look. DC, Maryland, Virginia. You have those three states all there. I have never been registered for all three states at the same time. It's never come up to me. So I do not know what that's going to come up, what's going to come up with that tax wise. I might not have to worry about anything tax wise. I don't know. So I did bring it to my accountant, the person that does my taxes, that this is a situation that I was unaware of. You live and you learn. Had no clue. The only time I've ever been registered in two states at the same time is because I have residences in both states and where I was operating the businesses. But you live and you learn. So the reason why you need to know your costs is because, and this is why I said last week that you needed to make sure that you have money set aside like for these things. Like if we're not pricing accordingly so that we're running businesses, and I was talking to a friend about this, I'm like, if I'm not making sure my business is making the money it needs to make to be able to pay the people I need to make it pay, to pay me the things I need to pay, get on top of my taxes, all these things, then it's just a hobby. And I like that's where for even myself I've had to be like, okay, is how am I going to keep going with this? What am I going to do? So for me going into 2026, I was pretty much like, this I'm either going to let this business close down, or I'm going to close this business down, or I am going to make the changes that are necessary for it to be what I need it to be, so that I am not having to burn myself down to the ground, have a heart attack, because I've told y'all like that's my ultimate fear, is like going and like find myself in a hospital. So yeah, I think it's really important to know these things. So with you knowing what your numbers are, I want for you to go through the spreadsheet, download the spreadsheet that I've given to you, and make sure you go and check that out and do the numbers. Face it. Here's the thing, whatever it says, it's okay. If you find out that you thought it only cost you $200 a year to run your business, I'm going to tell you that's not correct. But the thing is that once you face it, then you can actually create the strategy to be able to make sure your business is making what it needs to make so that it can cover the expenses in which it needs to cover. So that brings me into knowing that I am currently 26,000 behind in my event business to hit my Q1 goal. So what I've done is create a strategy so that I can close out this quarter powerfully. And if y'all want me to share that later on, I don't mind sharing that. Not today, but like on another video, I don't mind doing that. So once you know that, now that's going to help you of being able to look at what you're supposed to be doing for Q2. Like what you what you're doing inside of your business really matters. And you want to understand what is working inside of your business and what is not working inside of your business. And that's why I came up with the CEO Review Room. That is a membership that I just am launching this year for other service based businesses. And I made it very affordable. At first, I thought, okay, maybe I should charge a little bit more because of the high level conversations we're going to have. But I decided, no, I'm going to make it affordable for y'all. It's only going to be $49 a month, or you can do $3.99 for a whole year. The reason why I'm doing that is because how I'm going through my numbers, I want to teach y'all how to do the exact same thing. And most importantly, helping you with creating a strategy to be able to go about hitting those goals and being able to analyze what is working and what is not working. And so what I was able to do just from what I've was, because it's not at the end of Q1 yet. So what I did do was look at what were the packages and offerings thus far people are leaning into, because there's always some trends. But also acknowledging if there are any leaks that are happening inside of the business. What am I doing to re-engage clients? Have I re-engaged those clients? If so, how many touch points have I had? Um, is there any area to possibly increase pricing in our services? Is there a place where I need to tighten up my expenses? And just being honest about what is my clarity on my capacity right now. Like we have 28 days left in this month. I can sit here and say, I want to book this this exuberant number of events this month just to hit that goal. But if I don't have the capacity, because again, y'all, you have to know what your capacity is. I because I have this part of my life and then family, church requirements and commitments, relationship. I have different things that I'm responsible for. I will not sacrifice any area of my life um, just to hit a goal. So you need to be clear about it. So if it shows inside of your business that in order for you to hit your goal that you're, let's say, 26,000 away, what you'll then do is think to yourself, what is my average client spend on the services that you have? And based on that, how many clients would you need to get? And if that number is a crazy number for you to hit that goal, then what I would recommend you to look at is what kind of package can I put together so that I can hit that goal without burning myself out. So, like, let's say someone is a photo booth person. I would look and see, okay, one offs probably won't hit me to 26,000. What I might want to do is look at how I can possibly have an annual package that I only pitch to customers that work with me on a yearly basis and package it in a way that they sign up to work with you at some kind of bulk package price or something like that. But again, everyone has different businesses. I can't go through all the different examples, but I do think it's really important for you to sit here and think, okay, this is how far I am from hitting my goal in Q1. What is the average spend a client will spend with me, and how many of, like, so let's say 26,000, if your average client spends $1,000, that means that you would need to get 26 bookings. That sounds crazy. But if you know it's 26 bookings and that's possible in your world, great, go after it. For some people, they might hear getting 26 bookings in a month might seem like a lot. So what I ended up doing was like, okay, for me to hit my goal, that means I just need to get 4 people to sign on to a package that I offer my repeat clients. Boom, solution. So then what I can do is now reach out to people that I haven't been doing a great job of connecting with this year and get them on the phone, explain these packages and try to get them on. So then what I can then do is, if I know I'm trying to get 4 people to sign this specific package inside of my event business, I can set a goal to get one each week and kind of coast through the rest of the month. But this is why I say to not be guessing as to what needs to happen inside of your business. So that's why I am inviting you to come to join the CEO review room, because I know a lot of this information can be extremely overwhelming and it's can make you feel like, okay, I know I need to get these numbers, but I don't know how to find them and I don't want to do it alone. And you may be looking for accountability. And this is why the CEO review room is something that can truly be a solution for you. And inside of this, we'll have our first Q1, Q2 review at the end of this month to create our strategy for Q2 based on those numbers. And the great thing about it is that the first 10 people that do join this membership will be able to schedule a 30-minute consultation with me where we're going to get you ready to be able to get into that Q2 session powerfully and organized, because that's my goal for you, because I want for you to build your business intentionally and be able to understand what's going on inside of it. So definitely check out the link inside of the description so that you are able to hit the goal and have the support that you're needing. And we will be meeting once a quarter inside of inside of it, but we do have a Facebook group where you'll be able to ask questions, drop information, and I might on occasion think to do like a monthly session where you can ask some questions and I'll go live inside of the membership to be able to help support you. So with that, I really wanted to be able to help you of just thinking to yourself, what's going on inside of your business? How much does it cost for you to run it? Where you are, it doesn't matter where you are in your Q1 goals. If you haven't even thought of your business with your goal setting as Q1 to Q4, the basic way you can do it is divide what you said you wanted to hit for 2026 and divide it by 4. And then that would give you what you will want to be aiming for Q1. What I would then want you to do is review where you currently are, subtract that from where you should be, and create an actual strategy to get there. And if you have questions, I want for you to comment below. Let me know. I will have this as a recording to be able to see any questions in which you have. And if anything does not make sense, please do not hesitate to reach out because I want to see you win. And I look forward to also seeing you in the CEO review room in a couple of weeks as well. Until next time, I'll talk to you later.